And welcome back to the NorCal Grassroot Local here in Sunnyvale, California at the CardArt Card Shop. Once more, I'm Ryan, joined here again by Zach. Brief cameo by Aaron's left hand there again. We are here. You're back.
Yes.
Welcome back.
I'm back just in time for the rain. We got a double rain team matchup, so hope you brought your umbrellas.
I didn't. We live in California, and
it was cloudy this morning.
It was cloudy this morning.
You have no excuses.
I did see the cloud on my drive here. They're a bit different in terms of how they're functioning as a rain team. So let's go ahead and just hop into team preview here.
Yeah, let's take a look at these.
Let's take a look. I have to point it out immediately. It's become one of my favorite Pokemon quickly. There's a Farigiraf.
There is a...
I love Farigiraf.
Yep. It's, got second at Worlds. It's a pretty good Pokemon, but these are two very different rain teams, which is really cool to see. The only shared Pokemon is that Pelipper, but everything else is different.
Yeah, there's not really, there is no
teams.
shared team, but they are both rain teams. I'm interested to see if we get into the dynamic of maybe one of them doesn't bring Pelipper because of it, because you expect the other one to set it up for you. That could be interesting.
And then no one brings Pelipper.
And then nobody brings Pelipper, and we just play a normal game.
Yeah.
But we've got, on AJ's side, we've got a Pelipper, Rillaboom, Flutter Mane, Thundurus-Therian, Farigiraf, and Basculegion. And then on Gabriel's side, the Gholdengo, Urshifu, Pelipper, Amoonguss, Iron Hands, Chien-Pao. Walk me through kind of what this Basculegion's doing.
Yeah, so I think Basculegion, the sort of counterpart on Gabriel's team, is going to be that Choice Scarf Rapid Strike Urshifu. So they both have two very fast rain sweepers. That's what Basculegion mainly is, right? Going to take advantage of that Swift Swim and the Last Respects, as well as, of course, the rain-boosted Wave Crashes and Aqua Jets to just do insane amounts of damage when the rain is up, which it, is going to be up most of the time, I would assume, for this matchup. So they both have a water type sort of sweeper. They have the Rillaboom versus the Iron Hands in terms of that like bulky fake out pivot kind of Pokemon. They have the Farigiraf and the Amoonguss sort of like supportive options. Yeah, and then we have the Thundurus-Therian is named Skip Leg Day, which makes sense because its legs are very small. And they both have ghost options with the Flutter Mane and the Gholdengo on Gabriel's side. So,
yeah.
It's going to be very interesting.
And there is actually technically, there's double Ghost on AJ as well. Basculegion's secondary typing is Ghost. But it is so interesting to see how we have two teams that in concept want to do the same thing, just do totally different things with it. I really think that this Chien-Pao could be a star here. Chien-Pao is going to feel really, really good into that Rillaboom. It's going to feel pretty good into that Thundurus. Chien-Pao kind of feels like the one that's gonna like just do big numbers the entire time. So I'm interested to see what is going to get brought here, if we even see Pelippers, because maybe they both psych each other out. I would assume we're gonna see two Pelippers every game, but you normally don't want to rely on your opponent.
Chien-Pao is going to be, I think, an interesting player. It's going to be able to do a lot of damage, as you said, but powering up that Basculegion with that sort of ruin, not going to be the most ideal prospect. We are seeing it right out the gate. We do see the Pelipper and Thundurus lead for AJ. Gabriel responding with a Chien-Pao and Urshifu. This is a Choice Scarf Urshifu, so looking to be the fastest thing on the field. Already has the rain, already has the Sword of Ruin. Urging strikes are gonna hit.
Yeah, and this is where like that mirror match gets really, really interesting, because you want to get into a situation where Urshifu is in the rain next to Chien-Pao doing a ton of damage with Surging Strikes, and you didn't actually need a Pelipper to get it done. It kind of got done for you. Thundurus, I think, is something that you need to be a bit careful of if you are on the side of Gabriel here. I think Thundurus is great in the mirror match here, but it's actually going to take a little bit of a rest. It's going to go ahead and walk away. Doesn't like seeing that Chien-Pao. Instead, we're going to see Basculegion hit the field, Swift Swim. I don't care if you're a Choice Scarf. I think that Basculegion's probably going to be competing for fastest thing on the field right now.
Yeah, Basculegion might be able to outspeed this Choice Scarf. Urshifu, we're going to have to see as Urshifu is just doubling down on all the water, all the time, ready to do some huge damage with these Surging Strikes. Let's see which one they target. They're going to be resisted, but it's going to do huge damage to either of them. And yeah, that is a lot of damage to that Basculegion, and it looks like it's just going to get a clean OHKO right on that resisted Basculegion. So one Pokemon down immediately, so AJ getting punished right out the gate for setting that rain.
That is absolutely brutal as the Icicle Crash goes into the Chien-Pao and gets the flinch. You could not have asked for things to go more south if you possibly had asked.
Yeah. Gabriel is way in the lead now. AJ's really got to scrap to find any sort of way to get out of this, as Surging Strikes plus Icicle Crash can just kind of threaten to KO kind of everything here.
It is interesting to note, normally Rillabooms do go Terra Fire. This Rillaboom is Terra Water.
Definitely going to be helpful here, though.
It does look like AJ may be committing their Terra here, making sure to go Terra Water. However, Fake Out is also an option. Chien-Pao likely able to go, or Chien-Pao actually cannot go Terra Ghost because Urshifu already taken that Terra off the board, as it's going to be the Terra Grass coming out of Rillaboom. Or, I'm sorry, the Terra Water going onto the previously Grass type Rillaboom.
Yeah, going to be able to get those key resistances to water and ice. If you're spinning down Chien-Pao and a Scarf Urshifu, those are exactly the resistances you want. But we saw how much damage it did to the Basculegion, so, and yeah, Surging Strike, singular, once again going to take a KO here on stream. All it needs, Pelipper is KO'd, and we're going to see how this Chien-Pao is going to follow up with another Icicle Crash. Rillaboom's going to take that much more comfortably with that new fancy hat on, and is going to get to respawn. No flinch here, so Urshifu is removed from the field. So AJ's coming back. That Terra was very helpful, but Urshifu in the rain with Terra Water and Sword of Ruin does a lot of damage.
I really like the aggressive play from AJ there, just going, hey, I gotta make some moves to get back into this game. I'm not gonna click Fake Out, even though I know it's available. I'm just great for damage. Thankfully, didn't get punched. That's something that we saw a lot in the last round. But now you're just down to 2 Pokemon. You got a full health Thundurus. You got a half health Rillaboom. Assault Vest is good, but it's not doing much into an Iron Hands or Chien-Pao. So there is a whole lot of threats. Now you're Terra Water into an Iron Hand.
Yeah. Terra Water, so now you're weak to the Wild Charge from that Iron Hands. Fake Out Pressure is also squarely in Iron Hands' favor, and the Icicle Crash yet again has a premium target in that Thundurus-Therian. So Iron Hands going for very safe Fake Out into that Rillaboom. What Icicle Crash can miss? We saw it flinch, now we saw it miss. We're getting all the things. And Wild Bolt Storm doing a huge chunk to that Chien-Pao, not quite bringing it down to that Focus Sash, doing a little bit of damage to that Iron Hands as well. And we do see that the Life Orb is shown on this Thundurus-Therian. The grassy terrain is going to give a little bit of healing to everything and show the speed tiers that are pretty standard.
It's unfortunate that there was no paralysis there. I think clicking Wild Bolt Storm, that's really what you're looking for. You're trying to just get a big paralysis down, maybe change the speed tiers a little more in your favor here. As Chien-Pao's actually just going to opt for the field here. It's 1 health. It doesn't want to take any more damage. As Pelipper comes back out, seriously, before the rain ends, as it's a protect from Thundurus.
Thundurus is going to protect, so it doesn't get to Wild Bolt Storm this Pelipper on the switch, and Rillaboom does go for the U-turn to potentially try to pick off that Chien-Pao, but the Wild Charge from this Iron Hands will be able to get the KO. Notable that the Pelipper on Gabriel's side does have the Rocky Helmet instead of the Focus Sash, so a Wild Bolt Storm there would have gotten the KO onto that Pelipper, but Rillaboom would have been knocked out all the same. As long as Icicle Crash connects, Chien-Pao is waiting in the wings to just get that KO on Thundurus.
I understand what you're going for when you're going Protect there on Thundurus. You really don't want to take any big damage, but it was just a great call from Gabriel as Wide Guard comes out of the Pelipper as well. Wild Bolt Storm, not very effective into Wide Guard. That's a wasted turn, and when you only have 1 Pokemon left, you can't afford to have that one. That is going to pretty securely put this one in the favor of Gabriel here. Drain Punch doesn't do a ton of damage into a flying type, but it's enough to get a little bit of chip regardless. Bring you back to full health. Feel nice and good about yourself. On to the next turn.
Yep, rain has stopped, so now that Wild Bolt Storm is not perfectly accurate at this point, and Iron Hands can't really do a whole lot to this Thundurus-Therian. The Drain Punch we saw doesn't do too much damage, but Thundurus-Therian also can't really do too much damage to either of these as well. See, Sludge Bomb does nice damage, but not quite the damage you might be looking for into that Pelipper. And yeah, these successive Drain Punches are just going to make sure that Iron Hands is winning those damage trades. So it's going to be a little bit of a slower end, I think, game, but I think AJ is going to try to use this time and see how they just moving into game 2.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. A lot of players in that position may have, I'm just going to throw the game away. I know I'm going to lose this one. That's all right. Let's go into game 2. This is some time that you can take to go, okay, what can I do next time? Give yourself a little bit of extra time. Once the game ends and you get into the next one, you're on a timer and you have to go. So I like the idea of maybe just play the game out, take a little bit of time, think about your game too, what the game plan is from there. But this game won in favor of Gabriel, and that was a fun game there.
Yeah, that Urshifu, so yeah, if I'm AJ, I'm definitely thinking, okay, I cannot afford to let that Urshifu, that Scarf Urshifu, go unchecked because it just tore massive holes through AJ's team, and they couldn't really come back from that very well. They tried, they did a very good job trying, but yeah, just did too much damage too early. So I think AJ's gonna have to try to get a little bit more value out of the Urshifu, or not Urshifu, Rillaboom. Probably lead that Rillaboom, try to get see if they can. That's the best thing they have to deal with water types damage.
Yeah, that was my thought exactly, was I think Rillaboom's probably got to hit the field immediately this time. It does have the Terra Water. It can do good things against the Chien-Pao because that was the lead last time. And that's the fear, is you lead this Rillaboom, you're facing down a Chien-Pao, and that feels really, really bad. But maybe going Terra Water, you can try and maybe turn that one around. It's a lot of resources on a hypothetical, though. To go, I'm going to lead my Rillaboom, which is my big Urshifu counter. I'm going to do it into a potentially dangerous situation. I'm going to commit my Terra Fort that I can't use later in the game. Now, that's just a lot to take down a single Pokemon. So you really got to start formulating what's your game plan after that.
Yeah.
How do you make that a worth it trade?
But I mean, if you don't get past that, then what's all what are you working out? So yeah, really gonna have to make Urshifu cannot just run away with the game here. They're not leading with Pelipper, but instead we're gonna have Pelipper leading on the side of Gabriel next to the Iron Hands. So a switch up from both of our players, and the Flutter Mane Rillaboom much more able to handle that potential Urshifu in the lead this time.
I think this is a great micro adjustment on the side of Gabriel. Even when you win game one, you can maybe go, hey, this is, I can kind of see where your line of thought might be after that game. Let me not lead Urshifu. I know it did a lot of damage. I'll reserve that for later in this game.
Very well could be in the back.
That being said, Flutter Mane, I think, is a great adjustment. We knew Rillaboom was coming, but I think Flutter Mane is great. When you Terra Water your Rillaboom and you're being threatened by that Iron Hands, having the ability to do a lot of damage with your Dazzling Gleams, your Moon Blasts, that kind of stuff is super valuable. And it's another turn 1 Terra onto the Iron Hands.
Yep, I think this Terrestrialization makes a lot of sense from Gabriel. We do see the Flutter Mane was Photosynthesis was the booster energy with special attack, so these Dazzling Gleams and Moon Blasts are going to do a ton of damage here. So Iron Hands doesn't want to take too much damage from that, but AJ not falling for it, just going straight for a Shadow Ball into that Pelipper, doing a nice chunk of damage as the Fake Out stops Iron Hands from moving, but Pelipper does get the tail window.
Yeah, that's a tricky situation because maybe you want to Fake Out into the Pelipper so that you can stop that Tailwind from coming up, but then Iron Hands gets a Fake Out off and it feels kind of weird. I think maybe Fake Out into Pelipper could have been the right play there since you know you're going faster now. It's obviously hindsight's 2020. And they can't Fake Out into the Flutter Mane. But now Hurricane is 100% accurate under Tailwind. That does about half of its HP on top of being resisted with the Assault Vest. A pickup on the other side. Pelipper goes down to the Moonblast. It's certainly a good call, but Heavy Slam from the Iron Hands. Enough to pick up the KO on the Flutter Mane. It's a 1-for-1 trade. I'd say that one's probably in the favor of Gabriel.
Yeah, we see the follow-up U-turn does a decent amount of damage to the Iron Hands, and we saw that Heavy Slam is exactly why we saw the Fake Out from Rillaboom turn 1. This Iron Hand is carrying Heavy Slam, so Flutter Mane a lot more threatened than it normally would be. So it does get to KO the Pelipper, which is great, but that might just be free entry for the Scarf Urshifu in the back. Rillaboom is on the field, it's already been weakened, so it might even be in Surging Strike's range now.
I'll be honest, I actually really like the U-turn from from AJ because now Rillaboom gets to hit the field again.
It's Fake
and
Out.
Just gets Fake Out immediately. It faked out, it took a turn, and now it's just got Fake Out again. It's a really nice pivot, especially when you're probably losing a Pokemon there with your Flutter Mane losing the Heavy Slam. You can't get around it too much. But here he is. Urshifu's back on the field. It can't Terra Water this game, which is important. It'll be doing somewhat less damage, but That's kind of the idea of bringing Pelipper in earlier, right? You're not going to reset your rain until you want the rain reset.
Yeah, and crucially, it cannot tear away from a hurricane weakness. So I think a single hurricane should be able to promptly KO this Urshifu. So we are going to see the fake out to stop this Urshifu from moving. Pelipper can follow up with whatever it likes. In this case, why not just counter the Tailwind on Gabriel's side with your own Tailwind?
I like that quite a bit. It's a much later Tailwind, so in a turn, maybe two, again, haven't been counting, there's the number for us. In one turn, you are going to have all of that speed that you need, right? That's super, super valuable as you're trying to pick up the later stages of this game. Terra Water is kind of what's being looked at on Urshifu here, and I think that is a very, very solid choice here. Resist the Icicle Crash as much as you can. Try and get Rillaboom through the rest of this turn. And that Pelipper is actually just a good spot.
Yeah, Pelipper is in a good spot. It's probably not going to be able to be KO'd by this Urshifu, so Chien-Pao might have to step in order to make sure this Pelipper can't get an attack off, but it of course could go for a Protect. Urshifu sort of disincentivizes that from happening, as we do see the Terastallization to the Water type from this Rillaboom. Doesn't want to get quickly whacked by a Icicle Spear, or Icicle Crash rather. That assumes that Icicle Crash hits, which is never a certainty.
Close combat coming out from the Urshifu into the Rillaboom. No Icicle Crash needed. The close combat will do it all on its own. That's a Terastallization used for nothing as Rillaboom is going to fall there. That is certainly not ideal. And now here's the issue that I've run into with this. Icicle Crash is actually going to hit into the Pelipper. It's going to be doing a hefty amount of damage as Hurricane comes into the Urshifu. It's not going to get the flinch, and it is going to get the KO. Urshifu falls. But here's the issue. You did not use your Pelipper to reset the rain, and you're down to 2 Pokemon. You can't reset rain for this Basculegion anymore.
Oh, you cannot. So the rain will be running out somewhat shortly, but the nice thing is that Tailwind is up sort of compensate for that. And this is now a very powerful Last Respects. It's going to be 150 base power. The Chien-Pao still has its Focus Sash, though, and this Chien-Pao does indeed have a Sucker Punch, so that's something that this Basculegion has to be very, very afraid of here. So AJ might just be a one piece too far away from being able to close out this game, but Helping Hand is going to be able to make sure that the Pelipper can do stuff in the face of that Fake Out that just gets the KO on it.
It just gets the KO. And it's important to note, Helping Hands is +5 priority, so it does get to go first. But oh, the Sucker Punch into a Ghost type. Basculegion 2 games in a row unfortunately hits the field and takes a quick exit. That is unfortunate, as it is our round 5 set going in the favor of Gabriel. It happened again. It was a match that we went into and went, oh, this is a bit of a mirror. I can kind of see how this is going to go. Oh, it's a rain team mirror. I can see how this is going to go. And then just completely left field with how I expected that to go.
Yeah, this is I think the Scarf Urshifu is the big star, I think, on Gabriel's team, because part of the reason why you run Pelipper so that you can get those really, really big, strong Surging Strikes. But the fact that AJ was also running Pelipper meant that it was even easier to get into those board states where Urshifu just sits to click Surging Strikes and everything just falls apart for AJ. So
yeah, it's just
too much.
It's just free positioning for Urshifu, as if Urshifu doesn't get free positioning enough anyway. So that's just a really tough situation to be in, but I think it was wonderfully played by both sides. I really liked the use of Thundurus there. I thought in game 2 it was a lot more impactful than it was in game 1. I'm a little disappointed not to see the Farigiraf as a lover of the giraffe myself.
It would have helped with that Sucker Punch.
It would have.
It's just
you never know.
I feel like AJ wanted to bring all of their Pokemon, but you only can pick 4, right? So it's hard to prioritize. Okay, need the Pelipper. Well, if he doesn't bring the Pelipper, then how do we? It's a tricky situation for sure.
Yeah, there's not really a perfect answer there, and I thought it was really, really well played, regardless of the outcome on that one. But that is the end of our round 5 set here. We're going to be taking a little bit more extended of a break going into our tough cut. Our wonderful judges and tournament organizers have to spend a little bit of time making sure that team checks are done before we get our top 8 rounds. We'll have those to you soon. See ya just a little bit.